Okay, today on Guitar Autopsy, we have special guest Karl Sanders from the band Nile, the legend, the man, the myth, the greatest death metal guitar player ever. Karl's a great dude. I've known him for a very long time. We met probably back, I don't know, it's been quite a while now. I can't even think back that far. So we've known each other for quite a while, and he's a very good dude, a killer guitar player, and I'm proud to have him on the show with me and Zach today. So
didn't one of your students tell you that Karl was a fan of yours and that's how you met him?
Yes, I had a student years ago that was a huge Nile fan, and he was always talking about Nile and Karl, and he emailed me, or we were in lessons one day, and he's like, "Yeah, Karl thanked you in the credits." I was like, "Wow, that's fucking cool," because I didn't know him at the time, and I think I reached out to him. I don't remember where I got his email address from, but I reached out to him and said, "Hey, man, thanks for thanking me in the credits," or I don't know. It's been a long time. I don't remember the exact conversation, but anyway, that, when I emailed him, we got in touch and just started chilling from there. I think I sent him some of my Outworld albums, my solo album, and some other things, maybe some of my Chops from Hell stuff to check out. And vice versa. I went and bought a bunch of Nile CDs,
Nice.
I didn't really listen to any kind of death metal at that time. I think probably the heaviest thing that I listened to, which is still pretty freaking heavy, is Meshuggah, at the time. But anyway, it's the beginning of a beautiful friendship. So how you doing today, brother?
Oh, I'm all right. How about you?
Yeah, no real complaints, at least not that are worth talking about.
Well, at least it ain't fucking cold in Texas today.
That is for damn sure. It never gets cold here, man. About froze. I had to fucking freeze out. About froze my balls off. Can I say that? Yeah, I can say that. It's my show.
Yeah, why not?
Yeah, are we under any FCC restrictions, what we can say, or how many letters we can have in our words?
Yeah, right. What vowels and adjectives we can use in our sentences?
I'm going to have to turn this knob up because I could barely hear you.
Me?
Yeah, I hear you now.
Okay, so I'll just try to keep... Here, you know what? I can just scoot up a little bit. Maybe. I just kind of scoot back further when I have my guitar on.
It's right, because it puts the guitar in the shot. I can't find a fucking comfortable teaching position to save my fucking life.
When you're teaching online?
When I'm teaching online. It's just not right. Because where the guitar sits, right, it's where, if it's comfortable,
right,
can't see what the fuck I'm doing.
So how low is your chair in comparison to where the monitor or your webcam is?
Well, the webcam is right on top of the monitor, so the desk ends right here.
Okay.
Right? So if I play where I'm comfy, it's here.
Yeah.
If I set this on the edge of the desk, you can see what I'm doing a little better, but it's stupid.
Do you have your chair on the highest setting?
No. I got my chair at a comfortable height for playing guitar.
Right. So that's what. Do you use a footrest?
Yes.
Okay. So with a footrest, you should be able to raise it. Because if I put my chair down low, I'll be down here. So I have my chair all the way up high so that it helps with the camera angle or whatever.
That's probably what I ought to do.
And then my footrest, because of that, is up really almost on the highest setting. Way up there.
Is this chair this one or this one? Fuck, I don't know.
Yeah, but I know what you mean, dude. It's a little bit tricky getting everything just right, with the camera angle and, can you see it? Can you see my right hand? Can you see my left hand? Make sure everything's in the shot. And then you're trying to go, okay, well, if you look really close this way, you can see my picking. It's you need multiple camera angles. I think you mentioned George has that set up pretty well.
Got 5 cameras.
Dude, that's the way to go, man.
And he's got the little, little buttons. You hit OBS. It's called Stream Deck Mini, right? He's got a Stream Deck, so he can hit
the hotkeys.
The hotkeys, just on the flash.
It's awesome.
Yeah, so he can do it seamlessly. He can be talking to you and changing scenes and playing drums with one hand, reach over, go bang.
Right, that's cool. I'm surprised he doesn't have some of them set up to be triggered by his feet. You know what I'm saying? Get that little button over there with the foot. You know, switching to a different foot cam. Yeah, that's pretty rad. So, how is teaching going?
It's going okay. I have Thursdays and Saturdays that I do students on. Mm-hmm. And that's enough anymore, and I lose my mind. I tried to do like as many as I could back in the summer, and I was losing my mind.
It's a lot, you know. But I mean, you have a lot of stuff going on. You were doing an album at that time too, right? Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And doing online lessons for Cubase, I think, or recording lessons.
Yep. I trimmed back on the lessons, and I'm a little happier. Dude, people underestimate the tax. Like, for you to be doing that full time for this many years, it speaks to your like mental powers.
Yeah, we just hit my school. We just hit 160 students right now total. So
nice.
We're just it's very taxing, and you got to always be like customer service and be friendly, and kind of even just that little bit of energy is hard. You know, it's like sometimes you just want to chill.
You've got a lot more responsibilities than just being a guitar teacher, though. Being a store owner, you've got to be the owner and the boss and make sure the bills get paid, and then you know, corral all your teachers to make sure they're doing the right things and taking care of their students properly. And that's a lot more responsibility, man.
Yeah, 100%.
That's a lot.
It can be, for sure. I mean, but then, you know, of course, like when you get a student that's like really progressing well, and then it kind of excites you a little bit, and you're like, all right, this person's going to do it, and it's awesome. Sure. You know, so it does make up for it, you know.
So let's talk about some guitar stuff, guys.
Yeah, so let's get off that subject.
Karl, when did you discover that you were into the style of music that you write? I mean, obviously, because when you're a kid, I mean, you're one of the forefathers of that style of music. You know what I mean? There weren't very many people doing it, right? And nobody doesn't. I mean, there's only one Nile. You know,
that's true. But you know, I watched it develop, and there was like a first wave of guys that came, you know, before me that I was basically sitting back going, oh my God, what the fuck is this fucking shit? I gotta learn to play this. Because I was a normal metal guy. Metallica, Iron Maiden, Judas Priest, Slayer came along a little bit later. So my first exposure to real death metal was in the rehearsal room with the Morbid Angel guys when they lived in Charlotte. Because I knew David Vincent. And I was in town for a classical gig. I was playing classical guitar with a friend of his who played classical flute, and we're playing, this is just so ridiculous. We had a gig where we played at this fancy dress shop where like they have $5,000 dresses, right? So every weekend they have a thing where, you know, rich ladies come in and they shop for these expensive, you know, 4-figure pieces of clothing, and there's models walking around, women serving champagne to customers. And
this was in what, a small town in South Carolina?
Charlotte, North Carolina.
Okay, well, that's not real small, right?
No, it's a major city.
Yeah,
they got a football team. Okay. So while these women are like, you know, shopping for these clothes, and like models are trying on the clothes for the customers to see, me and this other guy were playing classical music. I'm playing classical guitar, and the guy is playing the melody on the flute, and it's just a ridiculous gig. Paid ridiculously well. It paid so well that I was like, you know what? I'm going to move up here for a while. I was living in the Morbid Angel house.
Okay.
So I got to see them practice every day. They're downstairs. They had converted to a rehearsal room. So, like, every day, that's what they did. When they got off work, get the fucking car wash.
So they all worked at the car wash?
They all worked at the Autobell car wash, like, right across the street, because none of them drive.
Oh, shit.
David Vincent was the only one with a driver's license.
Oh, my God.
So every night was, like, rehearsal, and these guys were monsters. And I watched this shit, and I was like, holy motherfucking God. This is like way beyond what anybody else on the fucking planet is doing. And that was my entrance, right? And that's like a ridiculously high bar to set.
Yeah.
Early Morbid Angel, that's what your standard of death metal is. So there was a lot of work to be done just to be able to learn to play that kind of stuff.
Right. So up until that point, so you were just playing like just regular metal, like you were saying, Metallica, Slayer kind of stuff. Right. Okay. So, So what were you doing prior to that? I mean, what's your earliest exposure? And when you first started playing guitar, what were you doing?
I was 9. And we had a guitar class in my school in the 4th grade. And it was a big group class. There was like, I don't know, 15, 20 students. And we were all playing folk songs on acoustic guitars.
That's pretty rad.
Except for me. Yeah. Instead of going... I was a dumbass kid going at 9 years old on a G chord and an E chord.
You were setting the stage already. You were born to do that, man.
Were you playing stuff in 7/8 time as well?
I didn't know what 7/8 was.
Well, he probably was before he knew what 7/8 time was.
Yeah.
Right.
That'd be pretty sweet.
By default. So, all right, that's pretty cool. Realistically, I mean, even though you're playing folk songs, but for a school to have a guitar class that you could actually take with other people playing guitar, that's pretty awesome.
It was a private school. My parents wanted me to have an education, so they sent me to private school. I wish they hadn't. I think it does a lot of damage to a kid when you put them in private school and you take them out of a normal environment where you learn about life and people and stuff.
Right. Yeah, it kind of shelters you a little bit, right?
Mm-hmm. I was really sheltered as a child.
Yeah, I think I see that a lot in kids that they're homeschooled. You know what I mean? Like they'll be homeschooled all of a sudden, and then they're in college, and then it's like a culture shock because then they're in the real world for the first time, really, because they hadn't experienced anything like that being homeschooled. You're only exposed to a small amount of people when you're homeschooled. You don't, and then it's very sheltered, and the whole 9 yards. So those kids, when they finally get out in the real world, they kind of go nuts.
Dude, Chris Rock has a routine where he addresses this very topic. I think it's in the special called Tambourine, where he says, thank God for fucking bullies. Because if you don't have some bullies when you're a kid, you will be unprepared for life.
Right.
You have to learn it. There are things that you learn out on that school playground.
Oh, yeah.
That you will carry the rest of your life. And if you're deprived of that, there's a whole lot of stuff you miss out on just human beings and human nature and the way people are.
That's true. That's very true. Now, so we were thrashing out in 4th grade, was it?
4th grade. Yep.
4th grade.
Playing the guitar completely awful.
Drumming like a madman. Yeah. Right?
Yeah, my parents
were. When did you know that folk guitar wasn't for you? Was it that moment?
It was kind of that moment where my friends in the class kind of looked at me and went, that's not how that song goes.
But you know what, dude? It would be so awesome to have a video clip of that now. Playing like that, because then it would be like you could see, people would go, oh, I get it. You know what I mean? From the beginning. Mm-hmm. Thank you, man. That's awesome. So, okay, so you playing folk guitar class in school. What's next? When did you get electric guitar?
I got an electric guitar after I decided I want to be a bass player. Like this acoustic guitar business, no. I want to be a bass player, right? A bass player. I could do that.
Yeah. Just like that.
So my parents got me a really cheap bass, and I was playing it, and it was awful. And my mom said, don't you think it might be helpful if you took some lessons? Well, back then they didn't have bass lessons. Nobody taught bass. So the only option was go take some guitar lessons.
Right.
So, my mother insisted. She said it would help my bass playing. So,
well, thank God for your mother. Right? We might not have Karl the guitarist. We might have Karl the bassist.
Yeah, I blame her for so much. Yeah, so much is her fault.
I hear you, man. So you went and got some lessons, and just, when did you discover like rock and roll, heavy metal, and stuff?
Oh, I was already in there.
Okay.
Yeah, like Black Sabbath, Led Zeppelin.
Okay. How old were you then?
Teenager, early teenager.
Okay. 13. So you made it through folk class and made it through bass and got back into guitar. Got you an electric guitar. Started listening to Sabbath and stuff.
How long did you take lessons for?
A long time. I took lessons like forever and ever. But really didn't make significant progress until I met Tim Hayden, a guitar player friend of mine. This is a ridiculous story. Mark Swicegood, who's no longer with us, was a piano player. And every day in homeroom, we happened to have the music teacher as a homeroom, and there was a piano in there for his chorus class. So every morning, Mark Swicegood would be in there on the fucking piano playing Eruption.
On the piano?
On the fucking piano.
Awesome.
Right? And I was a struggling guitar player, right? Trying to learn this stuff on guitar. And here was this fucker playing it on a goddamn piano, right? So, like an idiot, I said, here, try that. Do it on guitar. You do like this and blah. Anyway, so the fucker picks it up, and he's like an instant virtuoso on guitar as well.
What?
And we both started taking lessons from this jazz guy named Tim Hayden.
Okay.
Who's also no longer with us. He was a professor at the University of Western North Carolina, jazz performance.
Okay.
Bona fide jazz genius guy.
Awesome.
That's when I really started like going, whoa, oh, there's a whole lot of actual possibilities. We're not just going, we're actually playing some shit.
Yeah.
So that's when things kind of took off for me.
Gotcha. So sorry, Zach?
I was just going to ask about like the lesson side of it. Like that must have been like a pretty important thing to you, like weekly or however many times you went, like that was like part of your life, something that you really looked forward to.
Yep.
Good. I'm just trying to plug a little bit of like, the music lesson side of things for me and Rusty. But I mean, seriously, like it's so important, man. Like, you remember these guys, and how long ago was that when you took those lessons?
I'm 57 and I was a teenager, so it's 30 something years. Yeah.
And you still remember it with such like, I want to say like, I don't know, looking back fondly with love and like how important it was on your life. It's like that music lessons are that important. And I think that some people parent wise don't realize that. Like I have people who come in here that are, 50, 60 years old, and they're like, oh, I remember when I was 11, my teacher names the street it was on, names every, it's like, so music has that kind of importance on us, I think.
I think that's important too, because, because there's so much stuff that happens in life, and to be able to remember those memories take precedence over the other things that happen, so it's good. I think we all hold on to that kind of stuff, which is pretty cool.
What is this thing that you sent me in the email? You said, please download. Am I supposed to do something with that?
Well, what that is, it's Clip for our appearance here today. It's track from the new Saurian record. Rusty played the guitar on.
Cool.
And it's all acoustic, and it's fucking cool because it's like total African voodoo. Rusty playing on the fucking acoustic guitar.
Very cool.
Yeah, super cool.
Dude, I'm so proud of that, man. And it's like my acoustic debut, and it couldn't be in a better place than on a record with you, man. So I'm honored.
Well, I remember Rusty, after he kind of wrote it, he was like, hey, man, check some of these cool little things. And he just had his little thing showing me. I was like, dang, dude, that's dope. I didn't know he had never done an acoustic thing before.
I've never played acoustic guitar. Well, I take that back.
On an album?
I had some acoustic guitar underneath the clean electric guitar on the solo section of War of the Angels. But I mean, it's like...
I don't know if I count that.
Right, that's what I mean. It's not like I was really doing anything. It was just like a supplemental recording, you know what I mean? I don't even know that anybody could tell it's there.
So
do you want us to play the tune, or?
Yeah. Let's play a tune. I made a clip, so it starts on the guitar break, and then it plays Rusty solo, and then it finishes out. But it's some really choice fucking playing. Really great note choices. It's got this African voodoo fucking thing that, you know, I said, hey man, the track it's about this, blah 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 blah, explain it all. But he actually fucking played something that actually fucking did something like really cool for the track. It's not just fucking shredding. It really summons the vibe.
Yeah.
And does some really authentic phrasing that I heard and I went, holy shit, this is like 10 times better than you could ask for.
Yeah. Well, let me share the screen here, and then we can
let's do it.
Play it. So won't be able to see us, so we'll just be looking at the computer here.
Thing that's so cool about the album in general is it's just so much groove in it, dude. Everything grooves, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
it's really good.
I liked it.
Yeah, it's a great album, dude. I can't wait for everybody else to hear it.
I love that, like, especially even for an acoustic guitar, man. It's like so clean, like how you're approaching every single note. You can hear them, and they don't all like get all bogged together like some recordings can. It's amazing. I love it. I can listen to that all day. I might.
You know, I when I listen to the album, it's totally got its own vibe. I mean, I could see it being a great live show, but it wouldn't be your typical live show. It might be like in a very dimly lit room where people are chilling, and you know, just it's almost like you're in a. It's very like a score, almost like for a movie or something. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's really cool.
You have to kind of be in that mood to be like, all right, I'm going to just like shut down and just really enjoy what's going on here, you know? And that's really nice.
Yeah, it's cool. Chill music. There's plenty of music for, you know, amping yourself up and, you know, let's go bang our heads. But, you know, I wanted some chill stuff, and there's not a lot of shred on it, like shred. It's not about that. It's It's got something else going on.
One thing I can see with it is like if you like had that playing and you had like some girls dancing and stuff like that, you know, like just doing some cool stuff, like that could be really cool.
The second album, Saurian Exorcisms, some belly dancers used one of our songs for their belly dance like routine, and me and the singer Mike Brazil went to the theater, the Greenville Little Theater, where they had their fucking thing, and oh my god, these girls came out and they were balancing scimitars on their head, fucking dancing to the stuff from the Saurian Exorcisms.
Okay. So sorry. I gotta ask, what is that thing? What's it called?
A scimitar. Like it's an Arabian curved sword, so like 3.5 fucking feet long.
Okay.
And they put them on their heads, right? So they're balancing a scimitar on their fucking head and doing this belly dance fucking shit.
That's crazy.
It is crazy, right? So me and Mike were sitting there in the audience watching this shit and going, I had never in a million years envisioned people doing this to some of this music. Are you kidding me?
That's pretty cool. Dancing with swords on their heads.
I sent you an image of that, Rusty, through the chat, so you can see what the sword looks like.
Oh, I know what it is now that he explained it. I mean, it's those big curved, irregular.
Like Aladdin.
Yes. Exactly.
The King of Thieves. That's cool, man. See, but that was the first thing that popped in my head. Like, just like that whole, like, we got this one girl here who does that stuff where she like does the scarf dancing in the dark and everything glows and it's like really cool. She's really talented about that stuff too. And like we didn't know how it was going to work in the middle of our show because we were doing like like an intermission where he took like 6-7 minutes to go backstage and get a couple of things, get some water and stuff. And then we didn't know if anybody would like it, but man, nobody left. Like nobody left to go outside to smoke. They just stayed and watched her. It was like transition. It was like
go outside to smoke. We're gonna go for a smoke break.
That's what everybody does. They just go outside. I'm gonna go for a smoke.
So, Karl, you said something a second ago also that caught my attention. You said second record. So is this the new record that you've got? Is it going to be the third?
This is the third one. Yep.
Okay, so there's an album that I don't know about. What's the first?
Wow. The first
I think I had Saurian Exorcism.
There was one before it called Saurian Meditations.
Okay, I don't have that one. I got to get that, man.
If you don't have it, I can send it to you.
Sweet. Awesome. Exciting for sure, man.
But see, I like that you're able to, like, of course, like with Nile, you're super just aggressive all the time. But, I think people would probably label you as that, just from, that's it. Like, oh, he's just the metal guy. But then you put out stuff like this and it's like, whoa, this guy like actually knows more than, how to play really fast, You know
what? No matter what I put out, people don't seem to ever hear anything but the super fast stuff that I put out.
Mm-hmm. That's nuts.
Yeah. Like crazy. So I'm hoping that this is going to help a little bit.
I hope that, people go, when they hear this and hear you playing in such a different format that they, it's made plain and obvious, that
right.
The range of your musicality is incredible. It's fucking vast.
Thank you. And I've always listened to everything. I think that's what helps. You know what I mean? I think that's when you talk about guitar players that have made a difference in music history, like Eddie Van Halen and Jimi Hendrix and Randy Rhoads and Yngwie and all those guys. If you ask them, the things that, maybe they wouldn't say it, but that it's true. They've all listened to vast different styles of music. Mm-hmm. And regardless of what direction they went musically, they took all that influence from everything else with them. And when you channel all that into whatever style you decide to do, then you're bringing something new to the table. And that's something I always stress to my students. It's like, listen, man, if you only listen to metal, guess what you're going to sound like? You're just going to regurgitate metal. Everybody's doing that. You don't need to do that too. Listen to everything. You don't have to play jazz. You don't have to play blues. You don't have to play funk, fusion, or whatever, but listen to it and try to take something from it. That's the biggest thing. Because when you can channel that into your playing, you have something more to offer than just if you just listen to one thing.
So that's a good said. Right. Yeah, that's a good question though too. Like both you guys, what would be a band that you would think nobody thinks that you would be a fan of? You know what I mean? Like different, like not guitar related, not metal related, like somebody that you're like, wow, he would actually like that person. Who would that be for you think?
Which one?
Either one of you.
But dude, I can tell you there's a lot of shit that I listen to that people freak out to when they hear that I listen to it. I like the Bee Gees, man. I like 70s disco. I like funk. I'm a huge funk fan. I like
Earth, Wind and Fire.
Oh, sure. Fuck yes.
Exactly. Yeah. Dude, I like all that James Brown, dude.
Dude, James Brown is a fucking god. Those 70s and 60s funk records, if you listen to them and pay attention, those guys are fucking gods. The fucking timing, the discipline, the compositional interlock between all the instruments all working together to make that fucking groove. It's masterful shit. And those guys didn't have computers to do it 20 times until they got it right. Those guys had to fucking be able to fucking do it. But, what you were talking about reminds me, Zach said something the other day. He was talking about papyrus containing the spell to blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
Well,
how I use that to pick up women. But it never worked. Yeah. I was actually wondering how that riff went. I want to see it.
Well, this is like when I discovered Rusty Cooley, right? Sometime in between Annihilation of the Wicked and the Anti-Phallic album, and was like, holy shit. Okay, so a lot of the riffs, like, they're Rusty Cooley riffs. The opening riff.
That's cool,
Right,
man.
that's total Rusty Cooleyisms. That's 3 and a 7. And more 3s and more 7s. Right?
I like
And then
your.
the main
I like how
riff-
you. I like that you said
Sorry?
Rusty Cooley-isms.
I did say that.
I love it.
That's a word.
Now
That
it
is
is.
a word. Right, then the main riff. Here, let me grab an Nile guitar.
All right.
Now it sounds like a Nile riff.
Hell
Okay. So
What
then
guitar?
the main riff, when it gets going, is more Rusty Cooleyisms. Now, right here, right, those were 10s.
You're using four
Right.
fingers. You're using 4 fingers there, right? You're using
Yes.
4 fingers, right?
1, 2, 3.
All right, there you go. Those are cool chords, man. Right there
Thank
at the
you.
end. What are those chords?
Well, this is a nihilism.
Okay, there you
Right?
go.
And there's a story behind that too, but like if you take a power chord, root and fifth, right, and then you add your pinky up 3 frets.
What do you tune to on that guitar?
Sorry,
What's the tuning on your guitar?
this is drop A.
And it's 7-string, so you're just in standard but drop A, right? So E standard with the A, your 7-string drop down a whole step.
It's A, E, A. This is a 6-string. A, E,
okay.
A. Yeah.
Okay. All right, so that's totally
So it's like drop D, but it's
okay.
A.
I got you.
When I look at the neck, I think D, although
Right.
it sounds like A.
Right. So when you play the 6-string and the 5th, 5 and 6 open, it's a power chord.
Yes.
Okay.
Which is another nihilism that lets you go. You can get an entire chord,
Yeah.
right? I mean, a lot of people do stupid shit with that, like go.
Right.
Well,
Yeah.
that's not the way we do things, right?
Right.
It's like if you have one finger there, right? There's no reason. That you can't get. Well, you got 4 fingers.
Right.
If one finger's a chord, now I got 4 chords right in this right here. Right?
So it's so I'm trying to wrap my head around the tuning. It's your 6-string is low A, and then you got what's that? And
E.
so your 5th string is now E.
Yes.
Okay, and then your D string is what?
And A.
Okay.
So essentially, what it is if he had a 7-string, it would just be standard with a low A, right? Or is it all
Yes. When I play the 7th
but
string.
minus the high E?
oh, I see.
correcto.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Gotcha.
So this chord makes a minor chord, right? We got.
Yeah. That's very good. I got it right.
I thought you were playing Mama, I'm Coming Home right at the beginning of that, just for like half a second. Just those first two. And I was like, oh, that's totally not it.
Well, you know, Zach Wild references are okay.
Yeah, because he's awesome.
Yeah.
Yes.
But you're awesomer.
The other chord in here that's worth noting, right? When I go to here, it's a 9 chord, which bends to 9 up to the minor third. Okay, so then we get to the chorus, right? And this is a Rusty Cooleyism.
What gauge do you use for that low E?
That's a 70.
Oh, okay, because I'm trying to do it with like a 42.
Well, that's not going to do any good.
I just wanted to try the tuning, man. So see, got some rubber bands.
Yeah, you got to have a big string if you want to go that low.
For sure. That's what she said. Sorry, I went there. Okay, anyway, go ahead. I'm listening.
So, all right, so we get to the chorus, right? This is another Rusty Cooleyism. It's groups is 17 against the skank beat, right? So every time it flips around, it's 17, right? So every time it comes around, you're on the back of the beat. Right?
Yes.
You got 7 and then 10. Right?
That's sick, dude.
Jesus.
Total, like, okay, I learned that out of, Shred Guitar Manifesto and put it in an Nile song.
Yes,
Why not?
but you did it in a way that I wasn't doing it. That's for sure. You took it someplace new. That's for fucking sure.
Well, I think, when we learn stuff, right, no matter what it is you learn, you should do something with it, or else you're not
You're not
living
getting
to its full potential.
For sure.
Right? I mean, you already did what you did with it, and did it better than anybody is ever going to do it that way. It's pointless to try to out Rusty Cooley. It'll never happen. It's a pointless pursuit. But you can take a Rusty Cooley idea and take it somewhere else. Who knows where it might lead, because there's content in it, right? There's musical things to be gained from its application.
That one riff I was showing, or that, that 4-string or 4-note per string thing where I'm going all the way up, that 100% was because Rusty and I, 2 nights before that, he was showing me like how far he could like stretch 4 fingers. Which he can do because his guitar has this cutaway, a little more than mine. So I was like sitting there really struggling. So then I was like, I wonder if I could just do something for myself. And then, I came up with that pattern. And I've said this to Rusty before. Him and I started talking, how long ago was that? About a year now, Rusty?
Yeah, maybe a little longer, something like that.
I mean, we've talked on and off, but like where we talk now, like every day.
Right.
But I told him, I was like, even though him and I never really sit and do a lesson, like we're not really showing each other anything or whatever, he just plays or I play, I've learned more from that in the last year than I have in the last 6 years.
Yep.
Because I've been kind of in a rut, or, you get used to the same stuff that you always do and you're just polishing it. And I told him that. I was like, dude, I'm already better just from being around you, right? Who you surround yourself with is ultimately who you're going to become, or, you'll tend to.
Yeah, there's a lot of life wisdom there.
Oh, yeah. And well, that's actually both of you too. I mean, you and I talked on the phone, Karl, and you gave me some advice too about a bunch of stuff, and just, and that's the stuff that, they say like a smart person learns from their mistakes, but a genius learns from others,
Well,
and that's
I wouldn't call myself a genius then, because I had to learn a lot from my own stupidity.
Well, then you're a smart person.
And speaking of that, I wanted to ask Zach about his what was that, the riff you were trying to tell Karl about in the text the other night, where it was like your 11 riff or something, which ended up not being mathematically 11 or something.
Oh, God. Well, for people that obviously weren't there, I was texting Karl and saying he was showing all those riffs with, where it was 16 and he had it divided out into, all these cool different ways. And I was like, yeah, man, I really like this 11 pattern I've been working on. And I said 7 plus what did I say? 7 plus 5 and 5 plus 7. And then he texts me back and he's like, well, fucking 7 plus 5 is definitely not 11. And I was like, fuck. Like, dude, just delete my number from your life.
So I tried it. I was like, how is this 11? I was like, this is not 11.
You could have answered that question to yourself real quick by just saying he's wrong and I'm an idiot. Me. Well, the pattern, can you hear that at all?
Yeah.
So the pattern is, it's really easy, actually. Let's just say we're doing it here, and I'm going to go 3 notes, or 6, I should say. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. And I stop there. So instead of doubling up to create 12, like that, I just go to 11. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. And then I just do that. So that's like, I'm trying to make sure you can see me. Just like that. And I actually think it's easier than the 12.
I like how you say 11.
What, Lev?
Yeah. No, I do that same shit when I'm counting like 7. I don't say 7.
Yeah, it fucks me up. I always say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
11's got 3 fucking syllables.
Right.
I actually do that in my real life too. I'm like, yeah, give me 11 of those. And then they're like, I don't know what the fuck. I'm kind of lying. I've never said 11 in my life, but I don't know what the fuck I would buy 11 of. But if I did, I would say that.
If you did, you'd say that.
I do say sev though, and they're like, well, "You want what?" I was like, "Sev."
Right, it's so that you can actually count 7. Because if you use both syllables on 7, you're really counting 8.
Yeah, exactly.
7, 8. Mm-hmm. Exactly.
It's in 7, 8. It's in 7, 8.
Yeah, 7, 8.
Yeah.
And I always try to get my students, see, because that's what messes people up too when they're trying to learn odd time signatures. I found, because they'll count 7 and then use the syllable, and I'm like, hey, just do sev, and then they do it, and they're like, oh my god, that's way easier than what I was trying to do. Yeah. But that's just the little stuff that I like to do, throw in those weird. I had a really cool riff that was, I can't even remember, like, it was like 5 different note patterns in one riff. It's in drop A as well.
Drop A. Just drop it. Drop A.
But it's like that.
That's a cool riff. So what is that? What are you dividing that into?
So it's just like, I had to like count it into 16th notes to make it work. It's like 1, 2, 3. It's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So it's all in these like different patterns.
I like that kind of stuff a lot.
Yeah. Well, the one riff that I sent you. How's that go?
That's a cool riff, dude.
That's in 7.
I like the part that comes right after that.
Oh. Something like that.
Yeah, that's.
And then I got the riff where I bend back here behind the nut, and it's in 7.
Behind the nut love.
Behind the nut love. Yeah. But that's in 7.
That's sick.
Yeah, that I think I figured out how to play that without behind the nut love. I was working on it, was playing along with it one night when I was, checking out where I was going to solo at and stuff.
Yeah, because you couldn't with your Floyd.
Right.
Yeah.
So I don't know how I did it.
But then the next riff of that goes like. That's the whole riff. I think
the last person that did anything cool with Behind the Nut Love was Tony Iommi on Black Sabbath's Iron Man.
Oh, yeah.
That was a long time ago.
And now it's time.
Right.
It's time for Zach.
I don't know about you, man, but I haven't seen anybody do anything cool with that kind of stuff in a long time.
It really comes from the Ormsby, dude. Like, just because you got all this, like, free space, you know? It's like I had to do something with it. It's just staring at me.
Yeah, so, all right, let me ask you a question. Hey, Zach.
Yo.
All right, so if you're playing, like, a note up here, right, can you reach here and, like, right, with your other hand, That's
Yeah.
fun.
And
Okay,
then you can
that's
also
cool. I like that.
do like a pinch harmonic. Let's see. You can do it way up here. Where you have the right string. Since I don't have a whammy bar or nothing.
Yeah, but see, that's not as cool as the other thing you did. The rhythm thing that you did was way more innovative. It just sounds like you're playing on a lower key part. I wouldn't have never thought about that. That was behind me.
That honestly, that riff there, that's total nihilism, right?
Oh, it is, huh? We
It's like
wouldn't
1,
do
2,
all
3,
those
4, 5,
hammer-ons.
Well, I normally don't. It's all picked. I just was showing you. But it's
Yep.
so I'm like, it's freaking awesome.
We would do that.
We would do that.
Yeah, all those notes, all those riffs are picked right.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
I mean, I
Dude,
can't
if
imagine them
you,
being any other way.
or you'll never hear it.
Right.
Dude, half
Oh,
of
yeah,
my
it sounds
life
sloppy.
is spent trying to fucking hear the notes that I fucking play because I'm fighting a drummer going and a bass
Right.
player going and another
Right.
guitar player going. So,
Dude, how do you do it? Have you thought about using in-ears?
I tried,
And it didn't work.
and it cuts you off
What do you
because, yeah, it disconnects me from the immediacy of the moment. In other words, if you got a drum beat that's going, you can pretty much hear that,
Right.
you know, whether you're coming through your in ear or where you're coming through, you know, you're standing 40 feet away from your drummer or you're wherever. Okay. If your drummer is going, right, and you're supposed to lock onto that so that you and the other guitar player don't turn it into a big wall of shit,
Right.
then you got to be right on point. And what I didn't like about the in-ears trying to play in time with the rest of the guys was the separation of the immediacy. Like, I'm right here, drummer's right there, he hits his fucking cymbal, you know, 16th note on the ride. I have instantaneous awareness of where that beat is because I'm standing right the fuck next to him, directly fucking hearing it. It is organic.
So I've been wanting to try in-ears because I'm tired of, you know, when Dave Reckoning plays, we don't have our own sound guy. So I've got to rely on whoever's there. Right. So I've been wanting to use in-ears and I've actually got some, but I haven't, well, nobody's playing live right now or, you know, so I'm going to try them out. But the thought of me being able to hear everybody in my ears, right, in an in-ear mix, being able to hear everybody precise and be able to hear exactly what I'm playing is very enticing after having a lot of shitty monitor mixes.
Yes.
Yeah. So, but you're telling me it doesn't really work for you guys or for you?
For me personally, because of the kind of music and the unique demands that it makes, it doesn't necessarily work. If I were playing some other kind of music, I'd say yes.
Right. It's not so precision and timing driven. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
That fast, you know. So
But
you do feel like it's like a latency issue?
it's just a little bit of latency,
And it's
it's
enough
just
that
small. It's just
Okay.
small, but it's just enough. Like when you play through like a really shitty VST amp, and like you hit your pick, and like it doesn't respond when the pick, you move your pick and it hits a string, and you're expecting to fucking hear it, and it's like
late. Yeah.
late.
It's weird.
Yeah, that latency, it'll fuck you up.
don't like
Even just like micro amounts fuck me up.
Like, especially playing guitar. I hate playing through VST amps because I've been playing, I'm 57. I've been playing tube amps since I was, you know, a fucking teenager. So when my pick hits a string, I expect to hear something, god damn it.
Yeah.
Right then.
I can tell you're passionate about this idea. God damn it.
Have you ever thought about using one in and one out?
One ear in the in ear and one ear out. I tried that. I thought
that maybe. I mean, because I was thinking maybe that'd be a good way for me because I don't like the idea of not hearing my amplifier. You know, because when you're in your in-ears, you're hearing your amp, but it's not real. I mean, it's you know what I mean? It's coming through a mic in your ears. I don't like that. The thought of that, because then I feel like I'm going to be listening to monitors. So I thought maybe with one in, I could really hear the tightness of each musician, and it'd make the whole band lock in tighter as a whole. And then I could still hear my cabinet too with the other one out. So
there are people who do that.
Yeah.
For me, there's times when I don't want to hear some of my bandmates because I know they may or may not be on point.
I got you. Yeah.
Right. So if you got a couple guys in there that aren't on point, but you're supposed to be on point, if you hear the guys that aren't on point, then you can't focus on the guy that is on point.
Right.
So now we got fucking chaos.
But then you just have him mixed out of your monitor mix, right?
Yeah. I've listened to George. I hear George. I hear a little bit of me. I hear my vocal, and that's what I need to hear to be able to do my job. If you start giving me a bunch of other shit, then you're interfering with what I need to do my job, which is
and George is just as good as a metronome, if not better.
Well, he's playing to the click.
Well, I know, but he, as a player, is just insane enough to where he probably could do it without it, and you'd be fine.
He has.
But he's the one that you would want to listen to, you know, and then like it could really just be you and him, and it would be like, beelined.
Yep, and that beeline, I think, if you know, a lot of the stuff that you do with Day of Reckoning is incredibly focused. Very, you know, involved riffs, you know.
Yeah. And that's why it's so critical for me to hear like that, you know. And so I'm struggling a lot of times live because the mixes suck. And so I've been going with this philosophy, and I'm not sure that I'm not after what I experienced when I was teaching at the John Petrucci camp. Normally when I play live, I don't even have myself in the monitors because I'm standing right in front of my gear. I don't need myself in the monitors.
Right.
And that's worked to a certain extent because I like to hear, you know, kick and snare. I got to hear that. I have that in my monitors, and I have a little bit of rhythm guitar and bass because Matt, my rhythm guitar player, he's on point. He's like a human metronome, so I can always count on him being tight. I'll look over and he'll be counting. You know what I mean? That into it. But when I was teaching at the Petrucci camp, when we did the big jam where it was like me and John and Jason Richardson and Galpine, and I can't remember who all was on stage, but there was a bunch of guitar players, and John's guitar is in every monitor on the stage. So no matter where I went, I could hear Petrucci. And I'm thinking, well, maybe I should have my guitar in everybody else's monitor to the point where if I walked over on that side of the stage, I can still hear myself through that monitor. So I hadn't had my guitar in any of the monitors. Now, that isn't to say that some of my guitar is not in those everybody else's monitors, so I'm sure there is a little bit for their purposes, but not enough that it was beneficial to me. But after I experienced that at the camp, I was like, dude, I want to be in all the monitors. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
So I can hear myself no matter where I'm at. But too much of yourself is too much. You know what I mean? Yeah. It freaks me out if I have too much of me.
I can't play if I have too much of me. It makes my hand tense up, and I'm like too hyper aware of what I'm doing to do what I'm fucking doing.
Right. It's the proper mix, right? That's what it all goes back to.
I had that issue yesterday. I was recording for a buddy of mine. He just asked me to throw down like a quick kind of bluesy solo over just some stuff that he was working on. And I go over there and, you know, like the guy, the recorder or whatever his name is, I can't remember, his name's Scott or something. And he knows about me, but I didn't know about him. And he's like, oh my God, dude, you're like the best guitar player I've ever seen. And I'm so proud that you're in my studio. Oh my God. And I'm like, oh, dude, I just got done at the gym. Like I didn't know I was going anywhere, you know? And so it put that pressure on me. And then he puts me in, he goes, is this loud enough for you? And I'm like blasting over the track. And I'm like, dude, you could turn me like almost down completely. And that would make me feel a lot better about me. not that I'm not good, but you know, it's too much of you, you know? And you're like,
right. It's not good.
Because it's like I want to get into the whole vibe of everything, you know. I want to get into the drums and I want to hear the bass and all the I want to be infused with it, not sitting on top of it.
Right.
For me.
Sure.
No,
I think,
dude, I totally relate.
Good. I thought that was just me. I thought maybe it's just my weird. Like,
no, most of the guitar players that I know when they're playing live, they're kind of the same way. I've talked to a bunch, and most everybody's like, no, I need to hear a little bit of me, or because
just enough to like get your pitch right.
Yeah.
So if you're playing a band, right, you need to be able to fucking hear, or even hitting the note.
When we played live, Mike would play to the song. He wouldn't even listen to us.
Mm-hmm.
So in his headphone is the actual recording of the entire song. So he's on, you know what I mean? So we could count on that always. But, you just got to hear all the individual parts. But that was really pretty cool. I'd never seen a drummer play to the song. It was kind of weird at first, the thought of that. But it's like, well, I mean, it makes sense, really. Because all I need is to just play the song, put that in my headphones. Because Brad would make a show tape for the band. Or I think that's what he called it, a show tape, where everything's planned. It's like, once you hit play, that's the whole set. You're on and off. And if anybody says you went over his time, it's like, no, dude, we played to the show tape. It's all there. So everything's planned out, and that makes things run a little bit smoother too. Because everybody knows their cues and where everything's at. And it's very planned out, and sometimes that's not the most spontaneous thing. But when you're in,
we're not there for spontaneity. If people paid money for their ticket to come see you, then they deserve a proper show.
Sure. I mean, when you're a headliner, you have room for that. But if you're an opener, then you've got to be on and off, and the time you're supposed to be on, you're going to get.
That goes back to the whole ideology that Kiss went through. I mean, if we're going to have people pay to see us, we're going to give them the absolute best show we can, and they don't fuck around. Like when I watched them play when they were in Bombay or wherever that was, like they did that live stream, they had everything down to the minute because they were trying to play Rock and Roll All Night right at midnight, New Year's. And they were like to the freaking minute, and you can't fuck around. And that's what's cool.
Dude, those guys are pros. They came up at a time where you had to be a fucking pro.
I feel like an amateur over here, knocking shit over.
My brother texted and said, "God damn it, I love Karl's riffs."
Oh, your brother?
Yeah, Derek. So,
what's up, Derek?
And he said you're fucking groups of 17.
Oh, he saw that. Yeah. Yep. And we got it from Rusty. It's a total Rusty Cooleyism.
God damn it. Dude. You got to make the faces, dude. Yeah. I love it.
You got to.
It's impossible not to. Let me try that. Because you're in drop A. I'm in drop A. Well, I guess I'm in A flat, I guess, but let's see.
Yeah, he tuned the guitar down today.
I tuned it down to flat for Rusty.
Okay, right. So you're here. We're at the ring. Middle finger is at 5th fret. Okay. Right.
I'm going to go to 6 because I'm half a step down from you.
Okay, all right.
Okay, that's
cool.
So
you got this shape, right? So we got, it's like Phrygian minor shape, right? Start with your pinky.
Okay.
Yep, all right. And then you double that up.
No.
All right, don't bend the root note, just bend the 9.
Da, 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 da. Right?
That's sick. So what are you doing? You're doing 10s, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. 2, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, 6 and 4. Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
It's what 7s turn into when you use 4 fingers.
Yes. Yes, right? Exactly.
You got a 7 because I'll do a run where you do 3 notes per string on one string, and the next string's 4 notes per string, and you swap 3, 4, 3, 4, and it goes between 7s and 10s.
Yes.
right across the fretboard. That's pretty
And
cool.
then where was that high part?
Okay, G sharp, right?
Oh, you're doing that bar on top,
Yes.
right?
Yeah, there's a bar all the way across.
Okay. What's your middle finger doing?
Nothing.
Okay, it's just muting kind of.
It's getting the fuck out of the way. Wait, let's see if you
Okay,
can.
so it's index and pinky only.
All right, it's getting the fuck out of the way.
Okay, gotcha. Cool. Cool. Okay, so it's here for my tuning.
Yep.
Like that.
That's it.
Yeah, that's rad, dude. Totally dig that riff. Like,
Oh, damn. I'm like almost there. Dude, I'm going to steal that Nile thing, for my solo. Like, I'm going to do this big shreddy thing. Something like that. That'd be sick.
Nice.
you got to make sure you move that way though too when you do it.
What, like,
No,
Yeah,
you're
It's
doing
part
something
of
even.
it.
You can't, dude, I can't not do it.
You trying to play tens?
2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yeah.
Okay, well you're gonna have to practice that then.
Dude, you move your head when your pinky hits the downbeat. That's where you move your head. And I got that lesson from Bob Vigna of Immolation. Yep, proper credit.
I've seen these
you
guys.
move your head according to the downbeat of the riff you're playing. Even if it's in an odd time, you move your head when you move your hand.
That's cool. Good advice.
Bob
Okay,
Vigna,
so
Immolation.
what is he? Is he this singer?
No! Bob Vigna! Oh, he's the most insane guitarist, but not in
Well,
like
I've seen
a-
him. I just didn't. I thought they were a 3-piece, or maybe I'm thinking of somebody else.
Immolation is a 4-piece now, but for a long time it was the 3 main guys because one of the guys left. But anyway, there's 4 of them now. But Bob Vigna is the founder. Him and Ross been doing the band forever. It's basically them. But Bob Vigna, he's not like technically like super shred manifesto.
Right.
That's not his bag. He writes the most evil, dark, hellish things not imaginable by human beings. I mean,
Right.
if Satan had a house band,
You be it. Yeah.
yeah,
That's awesome.
So Bob Vigna is incredibly fucking original, like, because he's not thinking in terms like all the rest of us guitar players. He's on some other plane of existence that's like totally evil.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's rad.
Yeah, dude, they're an incredible band. Yeah, if you don't know them,
I'm
you
gonna have to
should.
go check him out more.
I'm curious about the riff, the chapter of obeisance. Like,
Ooh.
that song, Derek wants to know how that riff is played so he can not attempt it. And I've always wondered, like, because it's one thing to hear it, but like, how do you act? I would have never thought to approach the other riff with 4 fingers. I would have tried to do it, like this, and it wouldn't have worked out for me.
Nope.
I haven't
I
played
would've-
that since I recorded it. There's some really weird chords in this crazy time signature. I can't even do it now. But the idea, we've got the normal chord where you would have the normal chord, and you drop one of your fingers, and you get crazy results, right?
Right. Yeah.
Gnarly.
Yeah, that's very cool. So there's your 6. Right. That's
so we got.
That's almost. I think so. So. Yeah. Yeah, that's it.
Okay.
Yeah, so it'll start. Anyway, so that's kind of a cool way to integrate it into some other. It's interesting. Cool key changes in there, stuff. Mm-hmm. Now there's a couple of different ways you can do 6 too. You can do like. So there's 3 different ways you got. Or then you can do one on your index and then try to mix the 3 together,
and go insane.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy, but it's fun stuff to do. I mean, it's
fun to make your bass player play.
Yes, that's always fun. Your drummer's throwing sticks at the back of your head.
Well, all he has to do is count to 6. You're the one that has to actually change your finger placements.
Just add one more and then it'll be 7.
I like 7 riffs myself. I tend to write in 7 more than 4 anymore. I don't know why. It feels more natural to me.
So, I wanted to go back to something you said a minute ago, Karl. You were talking about the chords, and you're just saying just by moving one finger or
move one note. Yeah, move a note.
So, do you have a methodology behind it beyond that? Like, when I do.
Go ahead.
I was going to say, because I do a lot of that myself, but I'm using like fretboard visualization to look at a particular chord that I already know, and then I'll take and look at each string and look at all the notes surrounding each finger and try all the different options just by moving around. Is that kind of what you're doing on that?
Well, no.
Okay.
It's less erudite, right? The way you're talking about it is a very valid musical way of doing it, right? Because you're actually finding a predetermined goal. Like if you're here and you're like making an A minor, and you go, okay, I'm going to move one finger. Okay, I moved one finger. Now that gave me a 9. And if I move one more finger, well, now I'm getting the fuck is this B note in an A chord? Well, that's a 9 down here too. Right? Okay, so now we're thinking about things and we're understanding what the fuck we're doing. Right? You move a finger, you understand its relationship, you understand the new chord you're making. What I'm talking about is throw all that fucking shit out the fucking window. Right? You take your hand, right? And you start somewhere. Anywhere. Doesn't really matter. In fact, if you don't know where it is, it actually is more fun. Yeah. All right, so if I'm here, and like, you don't even have to look at it. Just move something. Anywhere. And then see what you get. Right? Which is totally a different way of doing it. I'm trying to forget that I know music theory.
Right. Exactly.
Right? If I forget that I know anything, I might actually come up with something. It's a pretty cool sounding chord.
Right. So when you're composing some of this stuff for Nile, you go through a process of this. Because you have to remember it, obviously, because everybody's got to play the same thing at some point.
Well,
right?
Of course. Yeah.
Right. So it's not like an improv thing.
No, I'm not improving.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to forget that I know what these notes are supposed to be and go wherever the universe leads.
Right. That's cool. But then if you needed to, through your knowledge of music theory, you can go back and go, oh, that's this because. Right.
Sure. And if I did that right here, I go, wait a minute. Well, that's root and fifth. There's a third, minor third, and there's a minor sixth.
Right.
Okay.
How some of those super dark passages get created, huh?
Yes, exactly. Sometimes you just got to forget what you know,
right,
and try something you don't know and see what happens. And maybe it'll be shit. Or maybe you might find something interesting.
9 times out of 10, it's shit. And in that one moment, you got gold, right?
All you need, right? See, you don't put the shitty things on your record, right? You don't present the shitty ones to people. That's for you, right? That's the joy.
Your own pleasure.
We're filtering, right? You got to have a filter, right? Give people the stuff that was good. Forget about the rest.
So this is great advice for up-and-coming musicians. That's awesome.
I mean, but at the end of the day, though, it's like that is probably some of the best advice you could get. Because
I was actually being serious. I mean, it's funny as it sounds. That's why I was kind of chuckling. But it's not always about the book. Matter of fact, it shouldn't ever be about the book. That should be hindsight. When you're creating, you should just be creating something, music. You're not, a lot of times it'll be a looking back that I can go, oh, it's this because, but I'm not thinking about scales and theory when we're working on a riff or something like that. You know what I mean? If I'm just being creative and letting the notes fall.
Sometimes that actually stunts me.
A riff on the new Nile record, like I did something, I had to call you and go, wait a minute, why does this even work? It shouldn't work.
Right.
But it does. What the fuck's going on? And we spent like an hour on it, and you figured it out and explained why.
We did some of that for your solo album with those chords.
Yeah, with the fourth chords and turning them into pentatonics. That was a genius lesson.
There's a lot of innovative stuff in there. I mean, it's a pretty cool process.
Well, see, the thing that I'm really inspired by is because you've been playing guitar for a long time, and you're still like open to learning something new from somebody who just knows something a little bit different than how you would approach it. You're not, stuck in your like way of like, oh, this is how I've always played. I don't care. I think it's always great to be like a Rusty's thing of the evolving guitarist. The evolving guitarist.
I haven't talked to Karl about it yet.
Well, you're fucking about to.
Yeah.
So,
so I've been trying to think about this thing that I want to present, like to my fans and like people on my Patreon page and students and it's the concept is be an evolving guitarist. Always be in a constant state of learning. You know what I mean?
I believe in it.
So I'm trying to figure out how to put that together in a presentable way, but I'm trying to use that as like, if I'm finishing an email or something, have it at the bottom being, the evolving guitarist, something like that, you know what I mean? Where it becomes almost a brand in a way.
It's a great brand. Yeah, I can see it, Rusty Cooley. And then in little print down there, it's a
the evolving
guitarist.
It
a slogan? Yeah, a slogan. Right. The evolving guitarist.
Yeah.
Right? It's more than a slogan, it's a mindset. It's
right.
a way of looking at the whole musical universe.
Dude, this is your salesman here.
Yes, you're nailing it, man. Yeah, that's crazy. I was fumbling for words last night when me and Zach were talking about it, but you're doing it perfectly.
He's already doing it. Just let him do it. Just let him go.
Oh yeah, so that's awesome because I couldn't really figure out how to. It's like I've got this concept of the evolving guitarist, and I really took that from when I was talking about my guitars. Like with my Ormsby's and other guitars that I've had in the past, I always said that it takes big companies don't like to change the things that they have. They already think that what they've built is the best, right? But guitar players continue to evolve, so the guitar has to continue to evolve with the guitarist, right? So that's where I came up with the idea because I was talking about I was using that reference, but I was like, man, it's really cool. I need to figure out a way to package that, and make it like you said, a slogan or something.
Dude, just keep saying it.
Yeah.
Just keep saying it. Like every 10th sentence, work it in there.
Right. You know.
Like as soon as he starts talking about cats.
Oh,
Right.
I haven't brought up cats once. I feel like I'm doing pretty good.
Yeah. Don't get him started, Karl. Dude, it will be over.
No, I thought it was a great idea, man. I think that because I told him, Karl, you remember Fretboard Autopsy, his book that he had,
It's
right?
on my music stand.
There you go. Like when I heard that back, when it came out, I was just starting and just getting into the whole shreddy thing. Like I heard that, and it's just the name alone was so cool to me. I could never forget it. And that's the point. It's something that's brandable, memorable, however you want to say it. And the evolving guitarist is like the words. It's memorable.
And who wouldn't want to be an evolving guitarist?
Morons.
Who wouldn't want to be?
Right. So it's
that's what you don't want to sell to.
Right.
Don't buy this book if you don't want to be an evolving guitarist.
Right. There you go. And if you don't buy this book, you don't want to be an evolving guitarist.
Exactly. And then
so it's a two-way, double-edged sword. But that's cool. And I mean, that's part of. I think that's the selling point sometimes too. You got, it's like when it's like when you design a cool guitar, and then it's like, well, how are we going to paint it? That's like the icing on the cake. You got a great thing now. How are we going to present it? What is it? What's that final artwork or whatever the paint job going to be? It's like, well, when you do a column or a book or whatever, what are you going to call it? You got to get something.
It's a great name, man, and you better do something with it before somebody else steals it.
I need to actually, because the show's going to air, and then I need to trademark it or something before then.
I'll get it done. I got my lawyer, dude.
Okay, kick ass.
I got my lawyer on freaking retainer for everything I want.
That's awesome, dude.
He does all my business stuff. We
got some posters coming out for the show. You've seen the logo or the artwork.
Yeah. His wife did the great artwork.
Yep.
Get all those signed and stuff when he's down here.
Yep. We're going to get like a whole bunch of them printed out, and then you guys as guests will get one, so you'll get a signed copy, and
yeah,
it'll be great.
Check it out. So I was just practicing your.
What do you mean, you guys?
Yeah, right. We get a copy. No. So Karl, I was just testing out your concept with the chords, and I came up with a couple cool chords. So check it out. I took a chord that I already knew, right? Just like you said, start with something you know, right? And then
that's lovely.
I like that. That's pretty rad. And I don't know why I'm saying rad so much lately. It's like such an outdated
trying to be
word.
cool, man.
No, it's rad, dude. No. So I used to associate this chord only with Lydian. Because it's add 9 sharp 11. But it actually works with Dorian sharp 4.
I like that arpeggiating. Like, do the arpeggiating pattern you did while moving your pinky.
I'm not really sure what I was doing. I mean, I'll figure it out, but because I was just kind of playing let's see. What's the tone? So I get on the wrong patch. No, it's just me. That's really cool chord. I was doing that with Zach the other day, but I was doing it with augmented triads. Remember that thing, Zach?
I remember.
I remember. Bastard.
I remember. I showed Alicia, and she went, "He's a fucking computer," and I was like, "Yeah, it sounds like a freaking video game, but cooler."
Well, dude,
even
funny.
like the thing from the.
Oh yeah.
From Dark Matter.
Ring do. Whoops. I was just making shit up there. So I don't know.
It sounded great.
Try and dropping that finger. So
See, yeah, move a finger.
Right. That's what I was doing.
Move a finger.
Because I wouldn't normally go to major seventh after this. I'd go to minor, but that moves down perfectly. Now you got another minor add 9. That's cool shit. I have to remember that. It's a major 7. Then that becomes that's the 5th of that becomes an F sharp minor add 9. That note's kind of funky, but that's a A7. Yeah, there's some cool stuff in there. All right, dudes. So, what else we got on the menu today? Ooh,
the Grindstein.
What is that?
The Grindstein.
Wow, that looks great. Tell us about it. It's put together. It looks really sharp, man. The circles, the way they got the knobs in a circle and stuff.
Yeah, dude.
Wow, it's sick.
It's a guitar preamp.
Okay.
It's made just for the sickest death metal tones imaginable. There's actually 2 circuit paths. One is like they call it the bottom shaker. It's super low, like Swedish death.
Right.
And the top channel is for the grindy, like face rapey part.
Okay.
Right. And so you blend or mix, the 2 parts of that. This thing just makes the sickest ass death metal tones. Just all it does. It doesn't do a lot. It's not the most versatile thing ever built. It's not meant to be. This thing does one thing and succeeds at it amazingly well.
That's
it's
awesome,
made by
dude.
a German company, Curtin. And I think Christian Kola, the producer, the German guy, he had a hand in this too. It's just incredible death metal.
So where can you get your hands on one of those at? Straight from the company?
Straight from the company. Yeah, they're a small little company in Germany. You order direct. Dude.
So Grindstein is the name of the pedal?
The Grindstein.
And the company is, what's the company again?
Curtin. Klirrton.
Curtin. Okay, cool. Very cool, man. So if anybody watching, that's where you get it from.
The Grindstein.
So did you just get it?
Just got it. Just heard it like once, and it is exactly what they say it is.
That's cool, man.
It's a fucking death metal crushing device.
So how are you going to use that?
Oh, well,
is it going to be for home recording? Is it going to be live or
for me? Recording here at home.
Yeah. Okay. Cool.
Is my live rig's pretty set.
Yeah, dude.
It's been tweaked for the last 20-something years.
Dude, that's something we should talk about too. Tell us about your live rig, because it's not a conventional rig. It's not an easy setup. You know what I mean? It's pretty intensive. I think people would like to hear about it.
Well, I'm using 2 Marshall heads. One is for the rhythms. It's a DSL 100 head.
Okay.
And I kick in the leads whenever I hit a patch change, and the second head jumps in, which is set to something a little more lead friendly. Because when you got a death metal rhythm guitar tone, it's the antithesis of what you need to actually make a lead hearable. Right.
Yeah. Cut. So you use the 2 heads separately?
So the rhythm head's always on. And when the second head jumps in, it's adding like a whole shitload of gain and presence in mids.
Right. So you don't have that second head on unless you're soloing.
Correcto.
Okay.
And when it comes in, that's when the Axe effects comes in. It just does the effects, and that's in the top cabinets, right?
Okay, so you got the two Marshalls, right?
Mm-hmm. Two Marshalls. There's a clean power
solos
amp.
come in. Okay.
Solos come in. And it all comes on.
Okay, cool. So that's pretty rad. Now, it has to be a little bit of a challenge to get that level mixed right, because you don't want when the other head kicks in to be overpowering, so it's how tricky is that to get the mix right?
Well, some days it's not easy at all because every stage is different. So that's, sound check, you got to find the right place for it. And sometimes it all changes as soon as people come in to the venue.
Fill up the room. Yeah.
It's all out the window anyway.
Right, when you get all the bodies in there. So do you you obviously have a guitar tech that you take out on the road with you to make things a lot easier, right? So how hard is it to train your guitar tech?
Well, it's less hard than training a bass player.
Okay.
But harder than training another guitarist.
Yeah. Oh, man. That's awesome. So, and I know that when I've seen you play in the past, you used to have a laptop on stage.
Right.
How's that working now?
The laptop, it's got all the sequences, and they're in a playlist. Every single song is its own project.
Okay.
And it's got the click track, which goes to George. It's got a guitar for George's headphones, like us playing the song correctly. Right. So if he gets lost, at least the correct guitar is in his ear. He can find his way back. Right. Then it's got the front of house samples, like all the extra stuff, the orchestras, the choirs, the whatever. There's all kind of shit in all songs. That goes to front of house. Then it's got a stripe of all my patch changes, which controls my rig. So, like, if you watch me, I don't actually have to hit my foot pedal ever during the set if I don't want to.
Right.
I can. Right. I've got it wired.
Now the foot pedal, you might want to explain that. That's because your guitars don't have volume knobs on it, right?
Correcto. I have a volume pedal. Well, it's really an expression pedal.
Okay.
That's goes back into a device that sits in the effects loop that is a volume knob, basically. Right? It's wonderful because there's no hiss, right? When I back off that pedal, I'm going from all absolute zero. So it's like the best noise gate there ever was because it's my foot.
Right. It's always going to be on the right spot.
Exactly. Unless somebody throws a Coke or a beer at my pedal board, which has happened, and then you get shit on your pedal, and then your foot slips off it, or your foot sticks on it.
Yeah.
Right. So
his volume's going up and down, trying to get your foot off. That's awesome, dude.
So I got my patch changes are on the sequences, and Brian's patch changes are on there as well. Which really is helpful when you're trying to sing. If you're not trying to do a pedal board dance while you're also trying to sing, it's actually quite liberating.
Yeah, I'm sure it is, dude. So your guitars, is that stuff that gets talked about very often? Is that a widely known thing, or is that something people are going to be learning here for the first time?
There's no knobs on my guitars.
So why don't you tell the story behind that? I think it'd be interesting.
I did see online, though, that like if you buy that guitar, it has knobs on it, or is there an option to get it without the knobs?
Mine came without the knobs. I've got it right behind me.
There you go. Look at that thing, man. That is sick, dude. It's a great looking guitar, man.
No knobs. See?
Right.
No knobs. Just
what are your pickups in there?
Beauty.
Is that an Invader in the bridge?
That is an Invader. If you want to get in the Nile tone,
that's the key.
That's it, right? And my hands, right?
Right.
Chop my hands off and take them home with you.
There you go. Is that an option? No. So what about the neck pickup, man?
What is this? It's a Seymour Duncan Distortion 7.
Okay. And you use that primarily for soloing, I assume.
Yeah, that's why I still got a switch Where is it? There it is. Can't find it. Barely use it. Just comes on for solos.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I use mine for. Yeah, sometimes. Yeah. So tell us the how you came to this conclusion that you didn't want volume knobs anymore.
Well,
it's totally metal. That's for sure.
It is totally metal.
Let's crank it up and rip the knob off to the T.
I mean, what do you need it for anyway?
Right.
I didn't have time to do it. Like, if you're playing...
Nobody ever really needs to turn down, right?
Why? Yeah, why? This is metal.
Right.
Why turn down?
Right.
Why... I mean, really, if you got a modern metal rig with a bunch of high gain, and you turn down your knob, you got a shitload of hiss, unless you got it gated really well. But even then, if you turn down your knob, you got a gate, you're really not pushing enough into the gate to actually make it do anything anyway. So, especially if you got rhythms where you're going...
Right.
You ain't got time to play with a fucking stupid ass volume knob.
Right.
So it's a useless fucking thing that when you're really going, right, you might even hit it with your hand while you're banging your head and not even know.
Yes.
Which I've done plenty of times and like, what happened to my guitar sound?
Right.
And, oh, it was me. That was me.
Yeah.
I did that.
Yeah.
Well...
Yep.
That bit of stupidity is no fun to repeat. So, all right.
That's why I use switchless wahs. No more doing the wah solo and thinking that it's on and it's not, and then turning it off and it's in treble position and it's really on. You're feeding back out of control and you're wondering what the hell happened to your tone. It's like, oh, it wasn't on that whole time. Now I look like a real idiot. You know?
Yeah.
I was imagining that I was hearing wah, but there was no wah. Because it was off.
Right. You're probably making a whole mouth move too.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Well, I already do that, without the volume knobs. Like all my guitars come with them, obviously, but I always have my guitar tech just route it straight from the input jack to the pickups. No, none of them work anyway. So I would rather just have one without it, and especially on some guitars, they just look great, and then you put knobs on it, and it kind of throws the look,
Exactly. Look at all that beautiful artwork that we have.
Right.
Right.
So your guitars, Zach, none of them have the volume knobs work on none of them?
Like on this Ormsby right now it does, because this one's pretty much came, I just got it from them. I haven't done anything much to it. But like my SG and my Iceman and my other ones, like, no, it just goes straight from the input jack and on through, which it really gives you a better tone, I think, because you're not cutting through every single one.
Karl, because when Karl tells the story, that's when he discovered that it sounded better. It was an accident at a gig. Something went out, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And you have your tech wire it straight to the output.
Exactly.
Right.
Yep.
That's when you went, ho, there's the tone.
Dude, it was like coming alive, like taking a blanket off
your
the
sound
fucking thing. Yeah.
That's pretty incredible. Do you think that there's any technology out there for people that, obviously need a volume knob for those guys, that there's a pot that you could use in replacement that would get closer to that sound? Is there anything that exists?
Well, that's a good question. Could we have something that sounds like it isn't there?
Right. I want a colorless volume knob that doesn't color my tone. Right. Mm-hmm. Right. That's because that's what's happening. Because, like you said, when it wasn't there, all of a sudden it was like a blanket came off your sound. Right.
This sounds to me a lot like a Heisenberg principle. Like you change the nature of something just by observing it. Right. Like if you stick something in the signal path, you've put something in the signal path. You've changed it just by putting it in there, even if you ain't using it. Mm-hmm. So can you achieve having pure nakedness if you put on a pair of clothes on? Something? No, you can't.
That's true. But I mean, you hear companies talking about their pedals and stuff like that. They're seamless. You can't tell that it's in the line when it's off. Right. Do you buy that?
I've got one piece of gear that I think is transparent. It's made by Sound Sculpture. It's my router that does my switching to route shit everywhere. That's as close as... I'm sorry?
Is it like an AB thing? Like an A/B switch?
No, it's an 8x8 matrix for making loops to, go, bring different shit in there. That's
like
the closest thing.
track stuff.
No, I use it for routing my guitar signal.
Okay.
Right, because the guitar comes from the wireless.
Okay.
It goes into my switchblade. Then from the switchblade, it goes to my Boss distortion, right? And then it goes to the amp. But there's also another one that splits off directly there at the switchblade and goes to the Axe effects, so that my effects are routed totally fucking clean.
Because it's not your ordinary rig, dude. You know what I mean? I mean, it's your rig, so you're used to it. But you put somebody that's used to plugging into a head and a couple of pedals or something like that, and it's a whole other world.
Yeah, me.
Quick. Yeah, you know what I mean? I mean, for me, it's like I went from playing with a rack gear, you know what I mean? Preamp and power amps and rack effects and all that stuff. And I tried to minimize my rig and simplify it. So I went back to a pedal board, and it didn't simplify it any.
Nope.
It was just as complex having a pedal board, because now it was just on the floor and you had to wire all the cables and all the pedals and put them in the right order and make it clean and not noisy. And yes, it's a headache really trying to get all that stuff right.
Fucking headache. People say it's simple. It's not.
Yeah. Not if you need to do more than the average guitar player. You know what I mean?
Wouldn't it be great if we just played a Nashville gig and you could show up with a Telly and a little Fender Twin, and here we go.
That's it. Yeah. Yeah, those country guys, some of those dudes can play like crazy, man. Rock guitar player, you get them on a clean tone, they need a compressor. Country guys on a Telly with a single coil, making every note pop, man.
Like some of those motherfucking bluegrass guys that live around here. Dude, the shit they can do with an acoustic guitar is...
Yeah.
Are you kidding me? Holy shit.
Yeah. Didn't you say that some of the studio that you recorded at, some of the guys that worked there or that recorded there primarily? Because how did they receive the music when you presented it to them? I don't think we ever talked about that.
They didn't even come in. They didn't want nothing to do with it. They let me
really
record it late
just
night.
Let you run the studio and
I was there from 10 at night to like 5 in the morning.
That's awesome. Full rain.
Yep, which is great. And there was no one there to annoy me, but got kind of lonely.
Yeah. I remember you called me a couple of times. Hey, what's going on, dude?
I'm lonely.
Yeah, right.
My brain is fucked up, because that's a fucked up way of working, right? You're all by yourself the entire time. There's no one to tell you, hey, dude, you're out of tune, or dude, that's okay. Right. Whatever. Yeah.
Do another take, or no, that's plenty of takes, or anything. Got no feedback, nobody to bounce ideas off of.
Dude, yeah, and you can do hundreds of takes because you think, oh, wait a minute, did I play that note like I should?
So, like when you do your solos, like say for a Nile album, you usually have somebody there with you, right? Because I find that I think that if I'm at home recording my solos, when it's all done, I think I might get a better result. But because I find that like when I'm in a studio, whoever's producing it or whatever, a lot of times they're guitar players and I end up being better than them. So anything that I do is good. So I don't ever get my best takes. You experience that? It's like everybody, oh, that's great. It's like, well, dude, I heard 3 or 4 things that wasn't that great. And you think I should just settle and that's good? You know what I mean? It's like, it's hard to find somebody that I can actually have there with me that's going to give me the,
Well, see, the rest of us mortals don't have that problem. Like, nobody, I'm sure, like if you ask Zach, we don't have the problem of people loving everything we do.
Look, man, you don't even sell you guys. Y'all are both badass guitar players, and you know it, man. So, I'm sure that.
Well, I'd say that to that, like, yesterday when I did that little solo thing for my friend's stuff, the guy there is a guitar player, and I totally fucked up a couple of things, and I'm like, I didn't like that. He goes, dude, that was really good, and you're like, no, I need to redo it, and then because it wasn't good enough for me, and that's what's important, right?
Yeah,
is it good enough for me?
Sure, because that's the way I always say about my own stuff. If I'm not first and foremost happy with what I've done, it doesn't matter what anybody else thinks. You know what I mean? Because every time I hear it, I'm going to still feel that way about it.
Oh, right. It's
so
a
you got to be
never-ending.
happy with your work, as much as you can be, because that's a whole other conundrum right there, being happy with what you do, because I mean, you could mix forever, you could retake that solo forever, you could play that one chord better, or at some point.
That's why my solo album's not out.
Yeah, me and Zach had a conversation about that earlier.
Well, Rusty had a conversation with me about it.
Yeah.
How about that? It wasn't a two-way fucking street on that conversation.
Well,
it was Rusty telling me what to do, and I just have to do it because he's right.
Well, tell me if you agree. Okay, so Zach's up and coming guitar player trying to make a name for himself, and get out there and do it like all of us, and he keeps putting out covers and copies of other people's songs and solos that he keeps putting out. And I'm telling him, it's like, dude, you got to get your own stuff out there because that's what's going to set you apart. You know what I mean? So instead of spending time transcribing the next Dream Theater or Yngwie or whatever, you know what I mean? Any great guitar player's music, if you spend that time doing your own thing, that's what's going to set you apart. Because there's 1,000,001 people on the internet just copying people. And I mean, it's cool to do. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying
how we
stop.
learn. I think it's a proper place on the path to learning what the fuck you're doing.
But I think you're at the point now in your career where it's important to get you out there, more than, showing that you can nail pretty much anybody's shit I've seen, you know what I mean? And do it better than a lot of people I've seen. I mean, you've seen any of his covers, like that Night Ranger tune? What was it?
Don't Tell Me You Love Me?
I didn't click on it because it wasn't as interesting to me as the blues thing he invented himself.
Yes,
with the thimble on his thumb.
Right.
I found my thimble.
That's becoming from another guitar player, a professional guitar player, not another kid watching the internet, right? Because that's what's going to set you apart. Because real guitar players want to see you play shit, your real shit, your own stuff. Because we're not impressed by covers. I mean, it's impressive, but it's not like. It's like, dude, Zach, if you put out your own song, I'd be like, well, that kid can fucking play because I know you can because I've heard it. But if I see you playing covers.
Well, see, now I'm sweating again. And anytime I sweat, I know people are right. I get that.
So this was my one-way conversation. I just got backup now.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. You invested Uncle Carl to
Uncle
come
Carl.
in and lecture your kid. Yeah, this is total parenting.
I'm gonna start calling you Uncle Carl, and it's gonna be like a thing now. No, but I really do appreciate it because it's kind of like sometimes you need that little kick, because to me, I'm sitting here going, nobody fucking knows who I am. What does it fucking matter? But that's kind of the opposite way to think about it. You should think about it as you need to make them know why you matter.
Right. And it's through your own music that's going to make you matter. Right.
And that's why when I talked to Rusty, when we first started doing all this, his first question, and it should be his first question to anybody, is why does this person want to hang out with me? Are they trying to get something from me? Are they trying to, because everybody wants a piece of his time and his energy and his information. And I just told him, I said, dude, what I need from you is I don't need money. I don't need any of this like fame. I need somebody to tell me what the hell like I should be doing, who isn't just like, a mom or like a dad who's just like, oh yeah, you're doing what you should do. Good job. Like I changed up my entire, what you see camera wise was because of Rusty, because when I sent him a video, I was like, hey man, check out my video on YouTube. And he's like, dude, I couldn't even watch that because like I couldn't see your face in one of the videos, cause it was like from the neck down. Cause I was like showing something. He's like, I can't even watch that. You need to get your shit together. And I was like, and at first you're like,
it wasn't that harsh, but
wasn't it?
Oh, was it? Okay.
You're like, dude, I can't even fucking watch that. And I was like, fuck. So then I go out and buy fucking $300 lights, and then the fucking lights back here, and I get my camera set up. But
and you look like $1 million,
and it makes me better.
And see, him going out and buying all that shit in turn made me better because then I had to get it.
How does this camera look?
My studio equipment together. That's my new camera, by the way.
It looks great.
Right?
Real clear, crystal.
Yeah.
We can do some better stuff with it, which we will. But for our first round, I think it looks really nice.
Yeah, looks good, man. All my students tripped on it this week, because I was using it for Skype lessons as well. They're like, it looks like we're watching a movie, dude. New camera.
But I do appreciate it. I'm going to take everything you guys said to heart and really start, because I have all the songs done for the most part, 90% or so, and I just need to get it done. All right. Congrats on the first episode. We really appreciate it. It's amazing that you're here.
Thanks, guys. I really appreciate you including me and all the fun. I really hope this series goes well for you. I think you guys are a blast, and I think you'll do well.
Thank you.
Had a lot of fun, dude. Appreciate all your help.
This will actually be technically the second episode because we're putting one out where it's just him and I talking about what it is and why we're doing it. But you are the very first official artist who will be spotlighted on the show. So,
will I be
exciting.
like in Wikipedia for that?
Maybe
you can put it in your Wikipedia if you want.
I'll go edit it right now. No.
All right, man.
Dude. Thank you, Karl.
All right, guys. Have a great afternoon. It was a lot of
Thanks,
fun.
buddy. Yep.
All
Talk
right,
to
you
you
soon,
soon.
brother. Talk to you soon, man. Bye.
I'm taking my drums, going home.
All right. See you later, Red. Take your toys and go.
See you, dude.
Bye.